Class 12th, Subject Physics, 10th chapter, Magnetic Fields due to Electric Current. Let us see the introduction of this chapter. We know that when an electric current is passed through any conductor, the magnetic field is produced around it. In this chapter, we have to study how the magnetic fields are produced by an electric current. When a magnetic needle is held close to a current carrying conductor or wire, then the needle shows the direction of magnetic field circling around that wire. Similarly, when a current carrying conductor or wire is held in our right hand with the thumb pointing in the direction of current along the length of the wire, then the curled fingers around that wire will show the direction of magnetic field. That means if any current carrying conductor is held in our right hand such that the thumb is stretched along the length of the wire and the fingers are curled around it, at that time if the stretched thumb along the length of the wire indicates the direction of current flowing through that conductor, then the curled fingers will indicate the direction of magnetic field. That means in this case, if the current flowing through the conductor is in the upward direction, then the direction of magnetic field is in anti-clockwise sense. Instead of that, if we reverse the direction of current, automatically the direction of magnetic field will get reversed. That is, if the current is flowing in the downward direction, then the magnetic field will be directed in the clockwise sense. Similarly, now let us consider two wires, wire 1 and wire 2. Wire 1 is carrying current in the upward direction. At that time, the magnetic field will be produced around this wire 1. Now in that magnetic field B, suppose the second wire, that is wire 2, is placed. So this magnetic field will be due to the current flowing through this first wire, and now which will be at any point along this wire 2, which will be perpendicular to the plane of the board and directed inwards. Similarly, in this case, the motion of the charged particles, that is electrons, will be oppositely directed to that of direction of conventional current. The conventional current is flowing in the upward direction and the motion of the electrons is directed in the downward direction. At that time, it is observed that the wire 2 experiences a force which is directed towards wire 1. So the wire 1 will attract this wire 2 due to this force F. Now in this case, both the currents are flowing in the same direction, and if you consider like these two conductors which are carrying the current in the same direction, then such type of currents are called as the like currents. And if the currents are like currents, then these two wires or conductors will attract each other. Now let us see what are the magnetic forces. So when an electron of charge -e is moving with velocity v through the magnetic field of induction B, at that time the magnetic force acting on that electron will be given as Fm is equal to -e into V cross B. In this case, this V cross B will represent the vector product or cross product of these two vectors, that is V cross B. Now in general, instead of this electron having charge -e, if you consider any charge particle having its charge equal to Q, it is moving with velocity V through magnetic field of induction B. At that time, the magnetic force acting on that charge Q is also given as Fm equal to Q into V cross B. So this force will be acting on that charge. Now suppose if both electric as well as magnetic fields E and B are simultaneously present, and at that time if that charge Q is acted upon by these two electric as well as magnetic fields, at that time the net force acting on that charge Q will be given as F is equal to Q into E plus phi cross B. Simplifying it, we can write force F is equal to QE plus Q into phi cross B. This first term, that is QE, will represent the force due to the electric field, that is electric force Fe, and the second force, that is Q into phi cross B, will represent the force due to the magnetic field, which is magnetic force Fm. Now, if you consider this net force or the total force, that is Fe plus Fm, this net force acting on that charge is called as Lorentz force. So, Fe plus Fm will give rise to Lorentz force. Now, if you consider this equation, from this equation, let us consider two different cases. In the first case, if the velocity of the charged particle phi is parallel to the direction of magnetic field B, then the magnetic force acting on that charge will be equal to 0. That is, from this relation, if you consider phi cross B, magnetic force Fm is equal to Q into phi cross B. Now, if phi and B are parallel to each other, then angle between them will be equal to 0, and then their cross product, that is phi B sin theta, will be equal to 0, because theta is 0, sin theta will be equal to 0, and therefore this term will become 0. So 0 into that charge will give us 0, and therefore the magnetic force will be equal to 0 if the velocity of the charged particle and the magnetic field are parallel to each other. Similarly, second case, if the velocity of that charged particle is equal to 0, that is, that charge will be stationary or at rest, then also Fm is equal to 0 even if the magnitude of magnetic field is not equal to 0. That means if B is not equal to 0, still Fm will be equal to 0 if phi is equal to 0, that is, that charge is at rest or stationary. Now, the vectors phi and F are always perpendicular to each other. From this diagram, vector phi and F, both these vectors are always perpendicular to each other, and hence vector F dot vector V will be equal to 0, that is, scalar product or dot product of these two vectors will be equal to 0. For any magnitude of B, F dot V will be equal to 0. Now, the magnetic force Fm is perpendicular to the displacement of the charge, and hence the magnetic force never does any work on that moving charge. The magnetic force may change the direction of motion of the charged particle, but it will not affect the speed, that is the magnitude of that velocity of that charge. So the direction of motion, direction of velocity will get changed, but the magnitude of velocity will not get changed. And therefore, if you consider now the quantities like phi B, it will represent one vector, it will represent another vector. Now in this case, if you take the cross product, that is phi cross B, then it will be perpendicular to the plane containing these two vectors, that is phi cross B. So if you consider this term phi cross B, it will be diagrammatically represented like this. If you take vector product of phi and B, that is phi cross B, that it will be perpendicular to these two vectors which are lying in the same plane. Now, as if you consider the force F as F is equal to Q into phi cross B, we have F is equal to Q into magnitude of phi cross B into n cap. So F is equal to Q into magnitude of phi cross B into n cap. That will be written as, because phi cross B is nothing but phi B sin theta, and therefore q phi b sine theta into n cap. So in this relation, theta will be the angle between the two vectors phi and b, that is velocity of that charged particle and the magnetic field, and n cap will represent n cap. This is the unit vector which will be directed along the direction of phi cross b, so it will represent the unit vector. So if the force of 1 Newton is acting on the charge of 1 Coulomb now, if the force of 1 Newton is acting on the charge of 1 Coulomb moving with a speed of 1 meter per second perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field B, then we can define the unit of magnetic field. So to define unit of magnetic field, we have to consider a force of 1 Newton which is acting on the charge of 1 Coulomb moving with a speed of 1 meter per second perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Then from that relation we can say that B will be equal to F upon QV. Since F is equal to QVB, F will be equal to QVB, and therefore B will be equal to F upon QV. Now from this relation we have to find the SI unit of this magnetic field B. So it will be equal to SI unit of F upon SI unit of Q into SI unit of phi. F will be measured in terms of Newton, Q is measured in terms of Coulomb, and phi will be measured in terms of meter per second. So it will be Newton upon Coulomb into meter per second. That per second will be shifted to numerator, and therefore we will get Newton second per Coulomb meter as the SI unit of the magnetic field B. So SI unit of magnetic field B is nothing but Newton second per Coulomb meter. This SI unit is called as Tesla, denoted by capital T. It is Tesla, and if you use the convenient unit of the magnetic field as Gauss, then 1 Tesla will be equal to 10⁴ Gauss. So this is only the convenient unit, proper unit used for the measurement of magnetic field. This Gauss is not the SI or CGS unit of the magnetic field. So 1 Tesla equal to 10⁴ Gauss. And now let us consider the next point, that is the cyclotron motion. So in order to study that cyclotron motion, we will consider a charge Q having its mass m is circulating along this circular path. That means it is performing circular motion along the circumference of radius of that circle equal to capital R. So R represents radius of that circular path, and along the circumference of this circular path, that charge Q having its mass m is moving with velocity phi. When it is circulating along the circumference of this circular path, at that time the magnitude of velocity will remain the same, but the direction of velocity will continuously change. Now in this case, B represents the magnetic field which is acting perpendicular to the plane of the board directed inwards. At that time, the tangential velocity phi will be denoted here at this point along the x-axis. So it will be always tangent to that point, to the circle, and therefore phi is the speed. This Fm will now represent, this Fm is directed towards the center of the circular path, which will act as the centripetal force. So centripetal force will be equal to mv square upon r. Centripetal force mv square upon r. And therefore, in order to explain this cyclotron motion, consider a charge q moving with a speed phi and a uniform magnetic field B. A uniform magnetic field B is directed in the plane of the board, that is perpendicular to the plane of the board, directed inwards. Now, according to Lorentz law of force, the magnetic force acting on the particle will be directed towards the center of the circular path of radius r. As that charge is performing circular motion, therefore the centripetal force must be acting on it, and that will be the magnetic force acting, which is directed towards the center of this circle. Now this force will then provide centripetal force. This magnetic force Fm gives rise to the centripetal force to sustain a uniform circular motion. As that charge is performing circular motion, uniform circular motion, to maintain its circular motion, uniform circular motion, the centripetal force is necessary. That centripetal force is provided by this magnetic force Fm directed towards the center of the circle. And therefore, if you consider Q as the charge, phi as the speed, and B as the magnetic field, then the force acting, that is the magnetic force acting on that charge, will be equal to QVB. This magnetic force will provide this centripetal force, that is mv square upon r. 1v will get cancelled on both sides, therefore we will get QB equal to mv upon r, and therefore mv will be equal to QBR. mv is equal to QBR, that mv will represent the linear momentum of that charge, and therefore it will be constant because Q, B and R all will be constant. Now this equation mu is equal to QBR represents the cyclotron formula. MV is equal to QBR represents the cyclotron formula, and this is the cyclotron formula or equation. It describes the circular motion of a charged particle in a particle cyclotron generator. In a particle cyclotron generator, the circular motion of the charged particle will be described by this relation, that is m is equal to QBR.